Fellowship, Ikeja CBD Eminent People's Chapter for this unique opportunity. I find it such an honor and privilege to be called to share a bit of the content I've been able to mop up over time with these amazing people. But please permit me, I want to thank the leadership of Full Gospel. I know we have the grand patron, Engineer Aladeolu, who I think is probably not yet here, but is someone I have great respect for. My wife and I were just talking about him some days ago, and I said to her that, you know, I'm a little bit jittery. What do I have to say where Engineer Aladeolu is seated? His business has run more than 3/4 of my life, my age. So, I mean, he's run business for over 30 years. So, and I have other people that I've also spotted here. Dr. Abato is a great businessman, very quiet, but his impact is amazing. I have Dr. Blessing Ayemere, boss at different levels. Boss at different levels. I mean, from business side, from we belong to the same business community in church, and he's also the leader of the prayer force in the church. Also, I have my very good bosom friend. I have my school pastor here. Let me start from there. Pastor Kayode Lunge. Thank you so much, Pastor K. Thanks for joining this. It's quite an honor. I have my bosom friend, Shenfula, is a brand expert, and the moment he said he was going to be on this call, I was asking, I just said to him, now you're going to put me on the spot. I mean, what do I have to say where Shenfula is seated? But I trust the Holy Spirit to do this by himself, because left to me, I don't think I know what to say. Okay, so the whole idea of what we want to do this evening, don't mind me when I keep glancing. I'm on a timer, and I want to be sure that I don't exceed my time. One of the things that triggered this was just the thought that 2024 has been a very interesting year. Very interesting year. If there's anything that has marked this year is a vocalized year. When you talk about volatility, it is 2024. It's very uncertain. Everything about 2024 has been topsy-turvy. Starting from, we weren't sure. There were a lot of post-election tribunal over the presidential election. And then we just came out of that. By the time it became clear that, okay, this is our precedent, too many other events started taking place. I'm going to share some of that with us. But permit me to start with a quote by Jack Welch, former CEO of General Electric. He said, when the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. I'll say that again. When the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change, on the inside, the end is near. Right? This is the reality of most businesses in Nigeria. In fact, this is the reality of Nigeria as a country. We are playing catch up on a number of things. Jack Welch emphasized the need for organizations to adapt quickly to changing market conditions. The thing to watch is not necessarily what's happening inside. It is the external environment, because guess what? That environment is always evolving. That environment is always changing. So what happens to organizations is, and I'm going to show a few examples of organizations that didn't adapt quickly and a few that did adapt quickly. So Jack Welch advocated for a culture of continuous learning, continuous innovation, and continuous transformation. And these three pillars are very much in short supply across corporate Nigeria. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. The pressure that the economy puts on businesses gets so much that just getting the business to survive makes you put innovation at the back bench. But you'll be realizing today that innovation is the major tool that can help me navigate this corner. So his quote highlights the risk of internal complacency, and the importance of staying ahead of external disruptions. And we've had quite a few. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll get there. We've had quite a few disruptions this year. Now, like I said, there are companies that actually took advantage of, of that, what do you call it? Adapt. Start with the ones that failed to adapt. Popular one, Blockbuster, video rental. They just failed to transition to online streaming, which led to their bankruptcy. We all know about Kodak film. Kodak didn't adapt digital photography, which resulted in significant decline in their sales, right? They still have some carcass of them remaining. What about the almighty Nokia, our mobile phone, the favorite phone of Nigerians? They just failed to innovate and adapt to the smartphone revolution. The QWERTY keypad happened, the QWERTY keypad, what do you call it? Constraints, outside of Nokia, the BlackBerry got so immersed in the QWERTY keypad that they didn't see the Android evolution. Now, that's far. Well, let's come to Nigeria. What about Nitel Nigeria? They could not modernize and keep up with private competitors in the telecom space. But in the days where we have to go to Nitel Center and queue to make call, we buy Nitel card. They didn't see beyond that. And if you go to the banking sector, we saw the Intercontinental Bank that failed to adapt to changing regulatory and operational requirements, which led to forced merger and eventual absorption by Access Bank. I know there may be arguments for or against that, but it is what it is. But outside of that, there are companies that have actually succeeded in adopting and adapting to these changes, one of which is Netflix. Netflix shifted from DVD rentals to streaming services. Amazon moved from an online bookstore to e-commerce, giant. Tesla completely disrupted automotive industry with their electric car. We were not yet done with fossil fuel cars that were powered by fossil Airbnb. They revolutionized the hospitality with the industry with peer-to-peer rentals. And then Uber that came in and redefined transportation and expanding into food delivery and logistics as we have it today. What about ChatGPT? ChatGPT has revolutionized human-computer interaction by offering AI-driven conversational experiences, transforming industries from customer support to content creation. I will not be surprised if there are people on this call who either do not know ChatGPT or do not use ChatGPT. I almost wanted to say, let me ask, but I have a lot of bones here. I don't want somebody to conk my head. But if you are not yet in the ChatGPT evolution, you are on a long thing, in the words of the artist, D'banj. All right. And then we have the Dangote Group, who successfully diversified from cement production to a broader portfolio, including sugar, salt, and now into oil refining, cementing their position as the leading conglomerate in Africa. That's what I'm talking about, right? Now, so the question, yes, I know I've had the privilege of being invited to make a presentation at Full Gospel Businessmen. So the house they already, I know a few people are wondering, who is this guy? Why would you be talking to us? So please, just to manage your expectation, we have Rwani, who is the economist. We have Dr. Ayo Teriba. We have the Leke Alders, the Kuneshonyos. These are the ones that come in and they crunch the economic indices. That's not me. So please, I just want us to manage our expectation. I just speak as a strategic foresight analyst. And what I mean by that is beyond the fact that I use data in predicting the future, one other thing I also do is actively shaping that future with roadmaps, frameworks, and models. Okay. Over time, by God's grace, I have been privileged to be involved in enterprise development over the years. And God has given me the privilege. I mean, 13 years ago, I spearheaded the setting up of what today, setting up and growing to the size of what today is known as, the Daystar Business Community. It runs a school, a business school that close to 20,000 people have passed through. I mean, Daystar Business Academy, it's empowered more people to start businesses or to expand their businesses. I was privileged 14 years ago. Now, and why do I say this? My pastor, Pastor Sam Adeyemi, used to teach her first service called entrepreneurship class. And that service ran between 7 and 8:30. Most of us were lovers of Daystar because of that service. And then one fateful Sunday, he announced he was going to stop it, that he was led by God to stop it, that something else would be created. And while I was sitting down, grumbling and complaining, hey, why would they stop this? The only thing that boys are enjoying, why would they stop this? I just heard that small voice, go and create that thing for him. And I thought I was a nobody. I mean, I just recently came to Lagos. I was a nobody then. It was a big church, even as at then, 13 years ago. I was a nobody, and I took on that task, creating models, running different frameworks until, got the one that resonated with him. And today, the rest is history. I've also been privileged to lead my team, a company team in 2015, to assist a company called BTS. As of then, they were the third largest suppliers of microcheck printing machines to banks in Nigeria. I think we had over 20 something banks. No, as of 2015, we had much more than that. Oh yeah, about 20 something banks. Yeah, because Soludo had already reduced the number. But that was the era of Sanusi, when what we call Sanusization. When it happened to banks, Sanusi just came in with this policy that he was going to introduce cashless, the cashless policy in the banking sector. And he said, we have to start doing internet banking. So banks were forced to open their internet digital subscribers or customers to download their mobile apps, to go online, to take on their USSD as transaction medium. The implication of that was that this company that was then the third highest, if not the second largest supplier of money, that started before 2015 when someone referred my company to them. So we got in, we did an extensive study of what was the situation. But of course, before we started anything, we did a backward comparative analysis 5 years before to 2015. And we saw the revenue, the turnover, and the behavior. We just looked at the charts was talking to us, right? When we looked at it, the only thing we read from that was that, sir, these jumbo jets that is airborne is nose diving, and when a plane is nose diving, there are possibilities. One is that the engineers can get some things fixed and get it back to order. The other one is that the plane can get a soft landing, safe landing. And the third is that the plane is going to crash. And we told him, unfortunately, that's the funny thing about consulting. When you are consulting and they have paid you money, or they are going to pay you money, saying some things can almost threaten your either your fee or your balance. Well, he said, I just had to go into his office and I told him, sir, the honest truth is that this plane is going to crash. So then he was running two companies. No, it was running many companies, but two prominent ones. One, this engineer microcheck printing machine. They import, they supply to banks, and they service and maintain. The other was they were running a photography studio, right? Just like what Kodak had. They had one very big one in Surulere. And I told him that, unfortunately, your two businesses are going to die. They're going to die. He said, why? Because the future that we see, this business will not make it into that future. A lot of things took place. We did a lot of studies, we did a lot of things. But he now said, so what's the solution? I said, the solution is you need to get life jacket, parachute, to get everybody out of this plane before it crashes, both the asset and the people. Because we've turned over to 100 to 70 something to 60, so now 54 million as of the year we joined. So we knew that something was wrong somewhere, and it wasn't because they were not working hard. It was because the external environment had moved. I don't know if you read the book Who Moved My Cheese. The cheese had moved. The cheese that the business was built to benefit from had moved, didn't exist again. Sanusi wasn't smiling. He was using Lagos as a pilot, and he was telling Nigerians, when I'm done with Lagos, I will be in Abuja, I will be in Port Harcourt. I'm going to finish all of you with cashless policy. So people in the other part of the country thought it was just Lagos, but I mean, today, has it not happened? So banks' requests for microcheck machines started dropping. So we said, you know what? So we did a study. What do you have? My pastor wrote a book that is called Start With What You Have. What do you have? We did an audit of the assets and the resources that the company has, not in terms of physical assets, and in terms of competency and skills, auditing. And we did a study of the environment, of the macro and the micro environment. And we saw, where is the next wave of, business going? What are the things that are likely to blossom in the next 5-10 years? We did that study. And we came back to him and said, these are the number of businesses that we think this is where we saw the way the train will move, China, US, China, India, and all that, and then get to Nigeria. We say, you know what? You need to look at this and these are the possible other businesses you can go into. But you are also limited by the constraint of your competencies in the system. If you pick this one, you will need to fire everybody and go and hire a new set of people. And these people that you are going to hire, you are not going to pay them the money you are paying these other boys that have been with you for 5, 7, 12 years. So you either choose a business that already aligns with the skill and competencies you have, or you go and look for money that you don't seem to have at that time. So long story short, we did some study, and it was clear that renewable energy, the skills that they need, that engineering skill, technical skills that they need, was not too far from the skill of their engineers in servicing and maintaining those machines. Long story short, today, they are one of the big players in renewable energy, solar generators, and all the accessories. That's what they do. So I've been privileged to do all of that. So I said I use data to be futuristic because numbers speak to me in unique ways. And I've also grown to discover that I see solutions in the gap, right? So that's why I'm talking to us. The rationale for this workshop is a lot of things has happened in 2024 alone. Like I said, the business environment, our economy has experienced drastic shifts, from economic protests and fuel price hikes to talent drain, policy shift. The challenges have been piling up. Now, companies are also facing growing strain as they contend with Gen Z impact on the workforce dynamics. If your organization has not hired Gen Zs, they are principalities on their own. I don't mean millennials, Gen Zs. They don't understand your corporate ethical practice or whatever you write as rules and regulation. They are designed to break every rule that you put in place. But they are a big asset, right? Coupled with these Gen Zs that just got infiltrated from heaven into the workforce, we also have the jackpot phenomenon, which has, seen a significant brain drain, right? In addition to all of these macroeconomic shocks, there are also macroeconomic shocks like the NLC strike, the end hunger protest, and bad governance protest, the whole Dangote refinery complications, the recent Medugri flood, it's still there, and just yesterday's Edo State election. I have come to understand that, you see, politics, and I'll get to that, is a very important factor in business, as especially in Nigeria. So there's a need to have an urgent Q4, opportunity reevaluation for business owners. All right. So now, so let me start with some headline strategic review, navigating the economic imperatives. First one is the economic volatility, shocks, and policy changes. I've talked about the the NLC strike, the public protests. It has impacted labor, productivity, and business continuity. It's essential for companies to assess how these events have affected their bottom line and they, find a way to pivot quickly. There is also a looming strike in October 1. That one is coming up. That's by next week, depending on how government handles it. We've talked about the fuel price hike. It has made almost nonsense of the salary that you pay your people, because operational costs have surged high, pricing models, customer demands, employee demands, they've increased the heat on businesses. There are also the policy changes and governmental influence. The Tinubu administration is still, their fiscal policy, including the economic reforms, they're putting demand on businesses to adapt their operations to the ever-changing regulatory environment. Waiting for this, anything to settle in this government is wasting of time. It is better we ride the wave, follow the direction of the wave, and ensure it takes us to where we are going. The other one is the industry-specific challenges. I've mentioned the Dangote refinery development and the unresolved issues. They are still there. Dangote is producing locally, but the day he broke, sales, the price went from, I'm going with NNPC, went from 568 to 865 or 75. Dangote claims, he bought the crude with dollar, he paid with dollar, so he has to finish selling it. That by October 1, they will announce the new price, which is the one that he will produce from the one he paid Naira for. We don't know what that is. NNPC has relocated their part of their headquarters to Dangote refinery because they want to monitor things themselves. We still don't know what's happening. The political landscape is very important. The Tinubu administration's policy and business implications are things that we need to pay attention to. The VAT rate is still being reviewed. Government is finding different ways of imposing tax on businesses. Social media taxation on content creators. That bill is still being discussed. In the pestle analysis, the P, pestle political, economic, social, technology, environment, and legal. That first P, I think every business operating in Nigeria needs to incorporate it as a growth strategy, political. You've never paid attention to politics and political shenanigans in Nigeria. It's a good time to do that, because in Nigeria, politics speak first, then policies, then governance, and then every other thing. So it's important to pay attention to that. The next imperative is global ripple effects. Events such as the US election and the geopolitical development will continue to shape global markets. And Nigerian companies must align their strategies with these trends. The outcome of the election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump has a lot to do with how the economy of most third world nations pan out. Then, of course, the technology disruption. The last but not the least, the ongoing AI revolution calls for an increased role in the adoption of artificial intelligence. I don't know why your business would not have adopted artificial intelligence. What it does is it enhances your operational efficiency and it gives you a competitive edge as a business. You can't neglect artificial intelligence. If you have run away from getting involved in technology, this one, you are not running away from it by the grace of God. All right? So let's look at some critical factors that will be impacting Nigerian businesses in Q4 of 2024. First thing, like I mentioned, is the Gen Z workforce dynamics. Gen Z workforce dynamics. With a growing presence of Gen Z in the workforce, businesses have to adopt a new generation that values flexibility, purpose, and a different style of leadership. Let me repeat that again. We have to, adapt to a new generation that values flexibility, purpose, and a different style of leadership. 60 to 65% of companies run in Nigeria were built by people who believed and wake up, resume 8:30 in the morning, and close by 5. That's where the acronym 9 to 5 came from. The Gen Zs, they don't know it. In fact, some Gen Zs wants to come to work by 11 o'clock and close by 3:30. That flexibility, in fact, they are the ones that will come up with all manner of excuses. Mental health, they will say they're having headache and it's affecting their mental. In fact, they will just come and say they're not feeling like working today. They just want to show face and go home. This generation, only God knows the ingredients and the what he put together to create them. But they are a great asset, I must tell you that. So it's interesting to know that Gen Zs are driven by purpose. There was a research that was done in the US many years back. I stumbled on that research when my company went to do a pitch with the then Diamond Bank. And that research said that money is not on the top 5 reasons why people go to work. Ha! I struggled with it. I went to teach it, but I struggled. If not that it was a research, I would have, why? But they say no. Number 1 was meaning to their life, meaningful to their existence. It is out of sheer poverty that we think that everything is about money. Meaning. So Gen Zs are looking for organizations that prioritize innovation, diversity, and social responsibility. They will challenge every traditional corporate norms. They will challenge your policies. Gen Zs. So it's either you want to align, adapt to them, or just let them be, right? That's the Gen Z workforce dynamics. The next thing that will impact Nigeria's business in Q4 is the Japa and talent drain. It's not a new story. It's not the ongoing brain drain is being driven by the Japa wave. And many skilled workers have been seen emigrating from Nigeria in search of better opportunities. So there is now a talent fight in the labor market, which has left businesses scrambling to fill critical roles within their organization to maintain operational efficiency. I know for sure that it affected Nigerian banks. At the time, a lot of their back-end guys, coders, tech guys, they jackpot. And it was tough for most banks. They didn't say it, but we knew services were failing. Their digital platforms were failing, collapsing. Some people that wrote codes for them left, and they left with the code password. So I know a particular bank that one app they launched has not really taken off. It's just 1 or 2 or 3. I didn't mention name. If I'm calling name, you're on your own. I did not mention any name, but I know that they launched a particular app that was supposed to be great. And that upgrade is stop. That's all that is working. Every other thing is not working, right? So organizations are resorting to retraining, or outsourcing talents at highly increased cost. The third thing that will impact Nigerian businesses in Q4 is economic disruption. Case in point, rising fuel prices, industrial action, like I said, is a looming strike 1st of October. The lingering effect of national protests, the protests in the north the last time had many businesses lose a lot, so it's important for organizations to stay agile, and consider better ways to optimize their operational cost, especially in the face of these developments. Hello? All right. Sorry. I just want to be sure that I can be heard. All right. And then the last but not the least is earnings redenomination and currency instability. The depreciation in our naira. I just heard from the person that opened, one of the speakers earlier, that today naira, as of today, naira exchange for 1,700 against US dollar. And this is impacting on businesses, especially businesses that have to buy or do anything in dollars. So companies that earn primarily in naira must explore ways to diversify revenue streams into hard currencies in order to mitigate this risk associated with exchange rate fluctuations. All right. So what I'm advocating is for us to take Q4 as 2024 reloaded. Just assume that we've done a lot of hovering around from January till September. Q4, a lot of things are stable right now. Tinubu is the president. Yes, yes, yes. APC won the election in Edo State. Yes, yeah, don't throw stones at me. You may not be happy about it, but it is what it is. And it has announced the results, right? So there's some bit of stability. Things are taking shape. So the challenge for businesses is to run Q4 as 2024. All right. And some of the action steps for adapting and thriving in Q4 as a whole year is one, strategic business focus. There is need to conduct an urgent Q3 review, and I would dare say comparative analysis review of Q1 to Q3 to assess your year-to-date performance and the refocus on high priority areas. Some things will have to be dropped. There is no emotional attachment to anything that is not making your company thrive. There is need for organizations to develop a refined business strategy that adapts to market changes and aligns with your Q4 targets. Evaluate your priorities and let it be aligned with the current economic climate. Whatever you are creating that does not align with current economic climate, you gotta be realistic. And you need to reassess your core competencies and market positioning. Like I said, core competencies, what are the skills you have, right? Whatever you want to embark on, how does that match with your core competencies and how do you want to position in the market? The next thing is people role fit and employee engagement. Organizations need to ensure that talents are placed in the right seat. Jim Collins put it this way. He said, get the wrong people off the bus, get the right people on the bus, and then put the right people on the right seats, on the key seats. This is no longer the time where, you want to carry, take prisoners as employees. Organization needs to take that, painful step of assessing and realigning their workforce to ensure that every employee is placed in roles where they can maximize. What happens in most organizations in Nigeria up to now is that the company is working on one objective. The people are working on a completely different objective. In fact, the MD and executive team are the ones driving the core objective of the corporate objective for the year. The rest of the people are just loafing around. In fact, some people will give themselves work to do. At the end of the month, they collect salary. That cannot continue right now because you need to be pressure to pay people more. Not because, of course, there is the minimum wage factor, but because of the reality factor, right? People are spending more to get to work. People are spending more to eat. So you are going to be paying people more. But if you're going to be paying, you must ensure you derive value for what you're paying for. So now, with the Gen Z workforce on the rise, you need to conduct a people role audit to reassign team members where they can be most effective. Okay. Then of course, from that, we get to the Gen Z workforce integration and employee engagement. So we need to find a way to understand and leverage Gen Z's strength. I've talked about I've talked about some of the seeming problem or trouble that they can give you. But I must tell you, Gen Zs are great assets. They are called digital natives. They were born into this digital evolution. So what you and I are trying to catch up with, they were born into it. They own it. So they will find ways of cutting down on your turnaround time. But you need to be sure that you retrofit them very well. Sorry for using that word. All right. So you need to consider launching engagement programs within your organization. The next point is responding to the talent drain. There is nothing you and I can do about it. The person you are talking to today, this morning, or the person you spoke to this morning might have booked his or her flight tonight to check out of the country. What you can do as business owner is to prioritize retention strategies, including compensation reviews, career development plans, and creating a conducive work environment that encourages employees to stay. It's a talent contest. In the event that you can't get them, you have to look for things to outsource where possible, or form partnerships with local talent incubators to fill gaps caused by the Japa wave. The next point for me on how you can take Q4 as your 2022-2024 reloaded is what I call your talent retention. You remember I talked about talent drain the other time. This one is talent retention and acquisition. Talent retention and acquisition. So it's a way to combat and harness the Japa phenomenon, creating compelling reasons for top talent to stay. It's a whole campaign you need to launch into. The next 6 points is your research and development quotient. And you have to respond to external environmental changes and global events. Your R&D cannot be an afterthought. It must be in the center of what drives your business, right? Next point is business model reengineering. How does your company make money, right? For some companies, it could be diversifying into new markets. For some others, it's adjusting your pricing strategy. Others could be shifting to a more agile operational framework. And like I said, there are companies that have done this and done it well. The next point is financial restructuring. I talked about it earlier. Earning redenomination, financial restructuring. How does your company earn foreign currencies? You need to explore dollar earning avenues such as exporting services, partnering with international clients, creating dollar denominated products to protect against Naira depreciation. You can also consider setting up foreign currency accounts to explore global payment gateways for smoother transactions. You can also look for platforms where you can put your product and they can pay in dollars. It has to be a deliberate act. And the last but not the least is the AI bubble. Like I said, you can't afford to keep yourself out of that equation. AI is in the building. Leverage it for competitive advantage and find ways to develop what you call your AI adoption roadmap for this year. Okay, so let me quickly run through this, what I call, uncensored hacks for navigating the present chaos and closing 2024 strong. One is rapid pivoting. Rapid pivoting. You have to be prepared to quickly shift business focus based on market demands. Rapid pivoting. I am in that process too, where it looked like the industry that we were playing in before isn't looking very lucrative again. I'm in that space of pivoting to another one where we can create content that can be available to all. Then you have to lean into agility. In terms of uncertainties, businesses that can pivot quickly stand a very strong chance of survival. So you need to empower your team to make decisions and encourage culture of innovation. There is no need for this The decision has to come only from the top. From any part of the organization, people need to be empowered to make decision, make agile decision on their feet. You have to be ruthless and aggressive about cost cutting, cost saving, cost management, whichever one appeals to you. Just find ways to identify and eliminate non-essential expenses, tighten your cash flow management, reduce unnecessary expenses, streamline your processes, tone down your turnaround time, cut down the steps between your factory and the markets, because all of these things have, cost implications. And there is, the talent poaching. There's no pretending about it. So look for struggling competitors and poach, because talent are in short supply. And like I said earlier, government lobbying from industry coalitions to influencing favorable policies are now things that business owners have to be doing. Now it is clear why Dangote was always at the corridors of power. It is clear that man had a plan. Lobbying is a business model. I used to hear it in the US. Now it's becoming clear now that lobbying, government lobbying, is a part of our business strategy. That's why executives should never be, subsumed into any form of operations. You need your head clear so that you will go to where you will be part of the decisions that drive the sector that you are playing in. Okay? Bible talked about the men who sit at the city gates, where decisions are made. Then next point is leverage networks and strategic partnerships. Find collaborations, with complementary businesses to share resources and markets. Instead of you placing your order, incurring all the logistics costs, why don't you put this together and all of you bring in the container on the ship? It's just going to cut down the cost. This whole idea of me, myself, and I, it's not going to help any longer. What resources can we share? Right? Now is the time to double down on strategic partnerships and collaborations. Okay. Then the next point here is radical transparency. You have to build trust with your employees and customers through open communication about challenges and struggles. There's no need pretending. There's no need thinking that you are managing the information, because they think you are making much more than you're making. I was paid by one company that we went to do a strategy session for early this year. We created something fantastic, but they said, no, we can't. We shouldn't share that with the rest of the staff. I had a problem with that because I was thinking, these people think that you are making $20 million, but I know that you're not making that. But the reaction and the vibes that we're getting, it shows that they think that you are making much more. But you guys need to, be radically transparent. You think that it will make you look less. No, that's the situation. It is what it is. The next is you have to master remote and hybrid work models. So most CEOs have said that remote work is not working. No, remote work is working. Your HR does not know how to track work, because we're born into this era of FaceTime. When you come, clock in, clock out. Let's see what you have done. That's why we don't have a model for tracking productivity in remote work. That's why it's not working. Then, of course, diversify. That's one. I mean, I can't even teach most of you that. Diversify revenue streams. I mean, I've talked about that. Supply chain resilience, which means involving diverse suppliers and logistic routes. Don't stay with the one because they are your customers. If it's not working, look for another one that can work. Then there is the digital transformation acceleration. Right, business owners need to find ways to embrace e-commerce and digital service delivery. You can't keep doing this brick and mortar. It's not working. Then sustainable business practices. Look for eco-friendly initiatives that can guarantee long-term viability. Beyond that, there are actually grants that are available for their sustainability grants and loans that are available that you are not accessing because you're not looking that direction. The last but not the least is explore local market expansion that's available for taking. Okay, so if I close on this, what are the action steps for Q4 adaptation and success? One, business owners and CEOs should conduct a comprehensive SWOT analysis. You did it many years back. Your SWOT has changed. What used to be your strength is no longer your strength. What used to be the opportunity does not exist again. What used to threaten you, there are bigger threats in the house. So you need to reassess yourself, do another SWOT analysis, develop a flexible Q4 budget with multiple scenarios. Scenario planning has come to the fore. In fact, someone said, I was talking to someone today, was it today, yesterday, and the person said that they do simulation. Scenario planning and simulations have come handy these days. And then implement weekly strategy reviews and adjustment meetings. That didn't used to happen before. You need to have weekly adjustment meetings. Let's adjust our strategy. Did it work? Did it not work? We adjust it. That now becomes the strategy for next week. Next week, we adjust again. Then launch a company-wide innovation challenge. I think it was in HP that they said they launched this thing. One CEO that was hired launched an innovation challenge. We said challenge every staff to bring one new idea for improving the company per week. And they said in 1 year, they grew more than they had grown in the past 5 years. You don't know what is resident in your people until you challenge them to bring it out. So you can launch an innovation challenge within your organization. Then establish a cross-functional rapid response team for emerging opportunities and threats. Please break down the silos. This department is not my department. It's not crush it. Create a cross-functional, communication and operational model, and then initiate a future-proofing project to identify long-term sustainability strategies. And last, there is create a talent development and extension task force. All right. In closing, my first call to action for business owners who are on this call is to invest in a strategy planning retreat for a strong Q4 finish. With all that has happened, my proposal is for you to launch a week-long strategy planning. Given the current economic climate, businesses need more than a simple Q3 review. They need a week-long strategy retreat designed to align leadership, staff, and strategy for the final quarter of 2024. To ensure Q4 is used as a powerful reset button, companies should invest in a week-long strategy retreat focused on reviewing Q3 and developing a clear roadmap for closing the year successfully. Here is a structure I propose. The first 3 days should be executive deep dive, right? Where you where you focus on reviewing Q3 performance, conducting a comprehensive results analysis of Q1 and Q talent drain of your height, house data, and not just conjecture to direct your next moves. Like I said, most times I've found myself being in strategy sessions with oil and gas, with aviation. We did aviation this year. We've done real estate. We've done medical sector. We've done every. I don't need to understand your sector. Show me the data. When I read the data, I will understand where, because data speaks and points direct at a direction where it's going. Follow the data. Data follows money. Follow the data. Sorry, money follows data. Follow data. Money will follow you, right? Then the 4th and the 5th day, you now bring in all the staff for alignment and engagement. That's my proposed structure for that. The benefit is that come out of that retreat with data-driven decision-making, organizational alignment, and then actionable Q4 roadmap. My second call to action is for companies to carry out employee engagement audits. 75% of people working with you are not engaged. They are coming to work to earn their salaries because there is a mismatch between, the style of work that brings their juices out and what currently exists. So what employee engagement audit will do is it will address motivation challenges, it will align productivity with compensation, and it will tailor solution to company culture. So, in closing, in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous economy, otherwise called VUCA, like Nigeria. The time to act is now. There's no better time than now to plan for a successful close for 2024. So I encourage businesses to prioritize a strategic review and planning session for Q4, leveraging the expertise of myself and my team to guide your leadership team and workforce towards a strong finish in 2024. My team and I will be honored to lend our expertise to help you and your team navigate this challenging environment by facilitating a strategic planning retreat. So let's navigate these turbulent times with intention, adapt to market realities, and emerge stronger by year end. Together, we can assess, year-to-date performance, address any issues, and develop a robust plan for Q4. I look forward to assisting your organization to close 2024 on a high note and with strength and resilience. Thank you very much for having me this evening. I am grateful. I thank the leadership of Full Gospel for this opportunity, and I thank everyone who has indulged me for all this while. Thank you very much.